Okay, go away. There we go. All right, here we go. It begins in 3, 2, 1.
Can't believe people don't realize the Doritos Locos Taco from Taco Bell has now lasted longer than the entire Confederacy. Which means that has more merit to have its own flag than the one flying behind your neighbor's truck.
The blood of Uranus can never be destroyed.
The Morning Stream. They've gone to Plaid.
Good morning and welcome to TMS. It's the morning stream for Thursday, January 12th. Yes, 12th, 2023. I'm Scott Johnson. That's Brian Ibbett. Hi, Brian.
Oh, hi. Oh,
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, funny meeting you here, right as we're about to do a show. How weird.
How long have you been standing here?
How very unusual. So we got to start right off with a very effed up dream.
Yeah, all
that I
right.
got to share with you guys before it leaves me, because it's all just fleeting now. I can feel it leaving me. I'm never going to remember it again. But man, what a stupid night of dreams I had. And I don't know what caused it. I didn't eat before bed. I didn't do anything to give me weird dreams. They just happened.
Sure.
In this dream, Veronica Belmont featured in
Okay.
the weirdest way. Kim paid Veronica. I don't know how I know this, because in the dream I didn't know, but I know this.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Like I have an omnipotent view of the dream, but also a down in the thick of it view of the dream at the same time somehow. It's really weird. Anyway, Veronica Belmont was hired by my wife to try to seduce me. Don't tell Veronica this, all right?
I don't think we should tell Kim this. I'm
No.
even afraid of you telling the audience this.
I told Kim this, and she's like laughed and said, "What are you even doing?" I said, "I have no idea." Oh, there it is, the long one.
There it is, right
Sausage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so that was her deal.
there. Play that a couple more times, and Tina wouldn't need to pay anybody.
That's right. But it didn't end up happening. The dream just featured this subplot, but it never went anywhere. Okay? So that's
All right,
one thing.
Okay.
Then there was this burger place. I should say overall, my sister was in charge of everything somehow. Don't ask me how. Just knew that Misha was in charge of everything, and I don't know why.
Okay.
My sister
All right.
Misha. She often is in family stuff, so maybe that's why. But anyway.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's the one that take the
All right.
reins and sort of like say, hey, we got to get planning. We're going to do this and that and all that. So sometimes that's her. But anyway, then we get to this weird part of the stream where we're on some sort of vacation at a place that's like huge. And in the center of it is a burger place everyone really wants to go. And I don't remember the name of it. Didn't have a name, I guess. But it was this place where you just were like, oh, you got to get burgers there. And when we ordered our burgers there, they said, no problem. We'll text you. Give us your number. We'll text you as soon as these burgers are ready. And because they take a while. And I'm like, all right,
Sure.
cool. Text us, I guess. So then we go off and we do, whatever the dream does. And then in the dream, time has gone too long. And we don't know why they're not texting us. We're like, well, they have to be done by now. Why haven't they? And we kept letting it go and go. And like hours go by.
Yeah.
We're like, well, our burgers are what happened? They screwed up. Something's wrong. So we go back. And it's me and Kim. We go back to our burgers, and they say they're just sitting around. And I said, "Oh, did you forget to tell us that all this?" And they go, "No. The problem is you didn't sign the waiver." And I said, "What waiver?" And I was all confused. I said, "What waiver?" And they said, "The waiver that says that you understand that the lady that's 3 people down on this bar over here is really a lady. It's not a guy. And you have to put on paper that you agree that is not really a lady. That's a man there." So in my head, I'm going, what is this, like an anti-trans burger restaurant where you have to sign
Does
off
Hobby
on this?
Lobby now have a burger restaurant? Is
Yeah,
that the deal?
exactly.
Is this- what am I in a Chick-fil-A? What's going on?
They've expanded their reach, and now they own this. But anyway, so I was like, I have to sign this? Like, it was so confusing to me. And so I didn't sign it. Oh, and then while I'm sitting there and they're trying to talk me into it, they're showing me photos, the conspiratorial photos of I don't even know what. Like, it's all just a blur to me. But it was like, yes, and here is when the secret government rose up and did the thing and the stuff, and then showed me another photo and said, yes, and here's another deep state something. It was like some kind of just conspiracy field thing. It was all in an effort to get me to sign this thing to say that, well, that's definitely a dude or a lady, not a dude, or whichever direction it was. Or I guess it was a lady who I was supposed to say was a dude. And then I never did. I refused to do it. What? What'd you say?
Somebody born a man and was transgendered a woman? Or, okay, all right.
No idea, man. This dream was like freaking, it made no sense to me. And as I'm waiting for this, I'm like, I'm hungry, but I don't know if I'm this hungry. This is too weird. Why does anyone like this place? And they're like, oh, but you'll never have a greater burger. You just need to sign. You just have to sign to have this burger. And we said, I don't want to do this. And right about then, I hear Van behind me going, Pops, like kind of sad. So I turn around, and Van's standing there covered in urine. Just covered head to toe in pee.
Own?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. He's covered in pee, and he looks all upset, and he's holding his arms out like this, like he just can't move. He doesn't want to move or whatever. And that's the dream. That was it.
Bizarre.
It was so freaking weird,
really
man.
Bizarre, yeah.
I did not want to go back. I woke up at about 5 or something, and I said, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to do that again. That was lame. That was a stupid dream. It made no sense. And I told Kim about it this morning. She's just looking at me like, what are you eating at night? Like, what are you doing?
I was going to say, I don't know what we have on tap for Therapy Thursday, but there's no way that it's more important for us to tackle than all this.
I really do.
Unpacking all this.
I really do. I mean, I don't know. Dreams are probably not that big a deal. And maybe it's just, this was a big venting, maybe. You know how your dreams are good at, like, just clearing you out or whatever. Maybe that's all I was waiting for, because my dreams have been kind of nonchalant lately. But, man, this thing just made no sense.
I think we need to take those dream cards that I sent you. You need to send those back. Let me see if Hunter S. Thompson makes a set of those.
Yeah. We need a harder core edition of those cards.
Right. Holy crap.
Someone on drugs needs to make those. Like Hunter S. Thompson. That's a good call.
Like Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
Would be
he did a lot of drugs, that guy and that fella.
So you watched, you had your weird dream tonight. I didn't put this in opening topics or top topics or top of the show or whatever. Tina and I finished a show last night that I want to recommend, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to recommend it because I'm not sure why it's got the rating that it has on Rotten Tomatoes.
High or low on Rotten Tomatoes? Low.
Okay. So Tina and I watched the Giancarlo Esposito new series on Netflix called Kaleidoscope.
Oh, the one that you can jump around in and watch in any order, right?
Technically, you don't jump around. Netflix serves it to you in a random order, except for the final episode.
Right.
And I think, looking at Rotten Tomatoes, I think most of the people's complaints are, it's a dumb gimmick. Oh, it's a dumb gimmick. Stupid gimmick. But I really enjoyed the hell out of the show. Like, I love heist shows. Mm-hmm. I mean, I watched all of the damn seasons of Money Heist, which 8 seasons and they actually robbed 2 things, I think is the deal.
Wow. That's a long build-up to the heist.
I might be exaggerating the number of seasons, but I'm not exaggerating the few things that they robbed.
Wow. 2 heists, that's all you get.
Yeah, you get 2 heists. But you get really good, clever heists. And the way Money Heist always did it was, oh no, looks like they're about to get caught. Oh wait, let's have a flashback to how we thought this would happen and we planned for it. Like, 3 or 4 times a season, they'd have something like that.
Weird.
And, it's like, all right, well, that's a little bit cheesy. In this case, in the case of Kaleidoscope, I really like the heist. I think the heist was clever, but more than that, I cared a lot about the people. Giancarlo Esposito, obviously, a dude can do no wrong, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure. Yeah, he's great. I like him in everything. He's in everything. I should say I like him in everything. He
is in everything. The dude has a great agent.
Yeah.
And he's kind of your Danny Ocean. He's your guy that brings everybody together. You've got Paz Vega. You've got Rufus Sewell as the dude who.
All-time fan here. Love him.
Yes, and he's the dude who gets robbed.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
He's Buggenfuhrer or whatever his name was in Man
in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle. Yeah. He's also the main guy in Dark City.
Buggenfuhrer.
His Dark City movie is underrated. He's so cool. Love that guy.
Oh, he is great.
Yeah.
And then Jai Courtney, you know him from Terminator Genesis. Well, you know from Suicide Squad probably.
Oh, okay.
Most recently.
All right.
The Suicide Squad, I should say. Correction. The Suicide Squad.
The good one. That's how they call
The
it.
good one.
Yeah.
Captain Boomerang and the Suicide Squad.
Oh, he's Boomerang guy. Okay.
He's Boomerang. Yeah.
Sweet.
Anyway, I really enjoyed this, and I feel like, what am I missing? What am I missing that 50% of the people on Rotten Tomatoes...
Yeah, both audience
hated about
and critics and audience.
Yeah,
both same.
both of them sitting right at like 48, 49%, right there in the middle, and I don't understand.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've been reading a lot of independent reviews about it, and people say it is, somebody said, the first great television experience of 2023 has arrived. Kaleidoscope is insanely good. So,
Well, come on, it's like January 12th.
that's what I'm saying.
It's hard for it to find a better, like, all right, this is the...
Yeah, I know. You're literally almost the first, just in general, you're almost the first. But you know, like I heard nothing but good things online, and then this is the first time seeing this horrible conglomeration of reviews. You're right. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. I will say the gimmick is unnecessary. It just, basically you might get the day before the heist. The heist itself will always be the very last episode.
Right.
But you'll get like 3 weeks before the heist, 7 years before the heist, 2 days after the heist. You'll get those episodes in a random order. And it's kind of cool to see, oh, wow, this happened? I wonder how we got to there. That's kind of cool. So
Couldn't they have done... Okay, let me ask you this question. This maybe is a dumb question. Maybe it isn't. But doesn't that imply that there's a perfect order in there somewhere, and that all this randomness is actually kind of dumb? They just need to pick I don't know if there's a perfect order. The order that we saw it in, it's funny, it served it to us in a very almost like the right order buildup of like, all right, we got 4 weeks before the heist, and then 7 years before the heist, and then the rest of them were kind of in order, including post heist stuff. Okay.
That felt fine. I don't think there was, I'm trying to think of anything that was introduced that was like, oh no, that would have been so much better if we saw this before this other thing. No.
Did it make you want to rewatch and see what it did the next time at all, or is that not part of this?
No. No, I don't think it's, for me, it doesn't have rewatchability, but very few things do.
No, that's true. Like, there's some shows I can watch 3 or 4 times over, but it's rare, right?
Yeah,
Rare.
I don't have time. I have a list a mile long of things that I want to see, so watching anything a second time, I finally saw Eternals for the second time, and I kind of liked it more the second time, folks.
Yeah, you take it out of the hype bubble, it's supposed to be better. You do that, and that's like a lot of things, though. Video games.
It is a beautiful movie.
Yeah. Well, I I think I'll still see this. This is how many episodes? 8?
8 episodes, technically 9, but the first episode is a 1-minute thing from Netflix saying, we're going to present these episodes to you in a random order.
Oh, so they actually warn you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Warn or play up the gimmick or anything. But
that's interesting because they are really the ones doing this weird shit, right? They did the thing with the choose your own adventure. What was that called?
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch. Yeah. Nobody else is trying this weirdness.
The only other one I can think of, they tried to do it with Kimmy Schmidt. They tried to do a Kimmy Schmidt follow-up movie that was like that. But both of those things were technological challenges if you weren't on a device that supported. Like if you watched on your iPad and then projected it to your TV, totally fine. But if you tried to watch it on an Apple TV, you couldn't do the choose your own adventure.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. You'd think they'd want to do that. I don't know what they'd want to do. That's interesting. And also, didn't Love, Death, and Robots have a weird order thing that happened there? Or am I remembering that wrong?
I think we did figure out that they were giving us episodes in a different order. That you were getting episodes. It was almost like it was on shuffle, but completely unnecessarily on shuffle.
So less of a point to it, but it was
Right.
not coming to you at the same time. Because I would say, oh, episode 2 is great. And you'd say, oh, I thought that was kind of weird. And it turned out we weren't even talking about the same episode or something because they were shuffling them, which is weird.
Right.
I mean,
I
I
respect
respect
one
it.
yet. That's weird.
I respect the weird attempts to
For sure.
change
give
it
us,
up.
Give us something clever. In this case, it makes sense. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, seeing this heist planning and what leads up to the heist in a different order kind of makes some things differently suspenseful. Like, oh gosh, what about this? What's in this other vault? Or what's going on here with this guy, this character? What's his secret past? And then, like you get this other secret past. And the fact that they plan it so that the heist itself answers all the questions that are set up by all 7 of the previous episodes. I actually really do like that. I don't know. I mean, I guess I like the concept, but what does it matter if you're not going to watch this over and over again to have this different order thing?
Interesting. I was reading a review here, and it said they used a word. I'll ask you before I say it because maybe this is spoilery.
Sure. Okay.
Is a certain weather pattern a spoiler? As a thing they use?
No, there's a storm.
Okay, so there's a hurricane they have to deal with.
Yeah.
I love the idea of whether you're using weather, if you can predict it well enough, using weather as a cover for your big freaking crime. I think that's always fun.
It's great, and it's done in a way that, of course, 7 years before the heist, they weren't saying, "Oh, let's do it on this day because there's probably going to be a hurricane that day."
Right, that would have to come way late in the game, I assume.
So it does, it does come way late in the game, and it's like, oh crap, I don't know if we can do this. Wait a minute, we might actually have a weather thing that if it lands on the right day, we can use it to our advantage, kind of thing. So I'm stopping before any other spoilery stuff, but yeah.
Is there a little Asian guy in a food cart?
There is not, but there is a food cart. There's actually a bunch of little things in a food cart.
Really?
Yes.
Funny enough.
Or
Okay.
in a cash, like kind of the same kind of thing that was in Ocean's 11 with it was like the money rolly cage thing.
Gotcha. I loved it. That's always my favorite part of that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always bring it
Anyway,
up.
so it's called Kaleidoscope. It's shitoutofluck.com. It's called Kaleidoscope.
Yep.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I'm trying to figure out am I dumb because I enjoyed it, and that's the one thing you worry about when you see something you like on Rotten Tomatoes and it gets crap.
Usually when it's like, when it's this disparate, it's one thing if you felt 98 and they said 82, that's fine.
Right.
That's a margin we can deal with.
But this is
if you
such a
say
big gap.
you say 95 and they say 3, something's up.
Exactly. And I'd say 80 and they're saying 50.
Yeah.
High 40s.
That's a big chunk.
That's a big gap.
Yeah.
So
all right, well, maybe
you
Brian's
also
got
got
it
to
right.
worry, is it people who just hate something that's getting a lot of hype and attention? Not that this is. I don't think Kaleidoscope is getting a ton of attention.
I don't think so either. Yeah. Plus, I could see that from the audience because the audience usually are the ones that react to those kinds of things, whereas
but
critics
the
are usually not. So
critics don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, Scott. Anyway,
it's an anomaly. Is what we found.
that's right. But
quick thing.
there were people in the chat that said they enjoyed it as well. So you should watch it too and let me know what you think.
I definitely plan to. And when I'd seen all the hubbub about it, I immediately thought of you because I went, "Oh, they're gamifying a heist movie. Did they call Brian and ask him what he'd like?" Because my gosh, that's it right there. I just got this is just late breaking news.
Ooh, good.
Just got an
breaking
email.
news.
A game developer who I will not name. I won't even say the name of the game because that'll give away who they are. I just don't want them to think I'm slamming on them here. But I got a code for a game, and here's what it describes it as. I get these here and there for core and stuff. Play our game. We'd love to hear about it on the show, that kind of thing.
Of course.
This one says swap the tiles to restore the pictures and reveal the naughty girls. And then here
reveal the naughty girls.
Under features, it's spelled Feetures, so spelled wrong with features. Should be
Features.
Features.
Maybe it's about feet.
Feet.
It's Quentin Tarantino's slidey number puzzle game.
There you go. It's Feetures.
Features.
It says here 15 girls to be experienced. Browse gallery with one hand. Oh, come on now.
Oh, no, they don't really
It does say
that,
this.
do they?
Absolutely says this. Play games with one hand, mild level difficulty, nice artwork and music. That's the entire message. And a code. I have a code to this game.
And a code.
Yeah.
So is it? So it's an iOS game, or
No,
is it,
this is
like
a Steam game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Weird.
on Steam. I'll show you. I'll send you the name.
I'm not playing anything on my Steam Deck one-handed with the weight of that thing.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Snap off, break a controller or something. Have
Right,
you got
just-
yours back yet? By the way.
Oh yeah, I got it back on. I got it fast. I got it right before Christmas, which surprised me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Good.
I've been using it like crazy since. And I have a rad new game I think I need to recommend to you and everybody who's got a deck. Or even just Steam. It's an amazing indie.
Oh, cool.
I
Good.
love it
Yeah,
so
I love
much.
hearing that.
I'll tell you about it later. But anyway, that's the name. I just put it in Discord. That's the name of that stupid game.
Oh.
The one that I just got. Not the good game. Not the one I want to recommend, but this terrible one that
that's
just.
the one. That's the one with the features.
Yeah, the
Okay.
features.
All right.
Anyway.
What were the first two installments?
I know. This was the third in the great series of these games.
Obviously, it's done well enough for them to do, to do two more.
I'm always surprised what's available on Steam if you really look. There's like
Oh yeah.
the weirdest thing. That thing I talked about last week, the Sex with Hitler 3 is real. That's a real game. Or
Yeah.
2, I guess, the sequel. There's a
Yeah,
million.
see, there's another one. Apparently, if Sex with Hitler 1 does well enough, then there'll be a 2.
Yeah, and
What?
it's reviewed well. People, don't like it.
I don't understand though. What would you do in the second one that you couldn't do? Like more Sex with Hitler. Hitler lets you go further this time.
I guess so. I don't know how do you take those games and make them bigger? I don't know. I don't even know why they're a thing. Like, and most people, I think
things Hitler said he wouldn't do in the first game, he now lets you do.
that's right. I think most people, I think by default, your account on Steam doesn't have this category at all. You have to like know about it or search for it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's this weird, like kind of dark web sex game thing people have. It's weird.
Yeah, weird.
Very weird.
All right.
Anyway, let's move on. No judgment. Whatever. You do what you do at home. It's
I'll
fine.
let you put it in Mien Kampf.
Mien Kampf. Mien Kampf is open and ready. Oh, that's funny.
All right.
I
Anyway.
like that a lot. That was good. Quick shout out text I would like to do because I missed it yesterday. This came in as I was as we were rolling into the show, so we didn't see it. So I don't know if it'll even work today. But Colin,
Yes.
well, okay. Here's the message. It says, hello, morning stream. I have a whole family in the car today as we trek to Arizona for my wife's 30th birthday. And I thought it would be really cool for them to hear this shout out. My kids, Tilly and Milo, and my wife, Johnny, are often forced to listen in car rides to this show, I assume. Not sure if I can make a birthday song request, but here, you can play Hello, Hello, Hello by Remy Wolf. Happy birthday, Johnny. Love your co-pilot and adventure forever, Colin. So, Colin, I'm sorry about the day late thing. I didn't know. I would have done this live, but I didn't see it until after the show yesterday. So, my apologies, but you do get one of these for your wife.
Let's party!
You don't get the Remy Wolf song, though. All right?
You don't get the Remy Wolf song. A, because it's not a cover. B, because I don't think I could get away with playing Remy Wolf for Indie in the Middle. I love Remy Wolf, though. My God, I'm such a fan of her wackiness, her shouting for police, police, police. Da, 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 da.
She's great. Yep.
She's great.
Nothing wrong with her.
And in her videos, she looks like she's just a nut.
Yeah. A little
in
bit of
her
a
videos.
wackadoo. You know?
A little bit of a wackadoo, but happy birthday, Colin, and happy birthday, Johnny, and hey, Tilly and Milo. Hope you had a good trip, and maybe you're listening to this on the drive home.
Yeah, maybe on the drive, the horrible 12-and-a-half-hour drive home.
Right, exactly.
Thank you for that. Let's get on with the business here at hand. We got a guest coming up, as you know. Hold on here. Amy comes on. We talk about books, and reading, and stuff. And today,
books.
I think we're going to get a manual reading again. Those are always fun. So sit back and
I
relax.
wanted to read a manual.
Oh, your car has 4 things.
It's equipped with the following safety devices.
That's right. Did you bring your manual, Amy? Are you here with your manual? How's it going?
I did. I brought my Steam Deck user's manual.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, excellent.
I thought I could read that.
Ooh, did you nab the super secret cool Steam Deck thing? Did you get one?
She did. She was the first person
Nice.
to purchase one, and because
Was
of
I
that,
really? I
You
was
were,
the
yeah.
first one. Oh, I'm
You were
so
the first
excited.
one. And the benefit of that is that you get to help me test this method of shipping that I'm using in this padded envelope to make sure that it's going to work. These things are solid. Like, I can't break it trying to break it in my hand. So I'm hoping that the U.S. Postal Service doesn't employ stronger methods to try and destroy it.
They got some beefy
Here,
men.
let's try
Yeah.
and break this.
Yeah, let's see. I bet we can break this. Feel it through the bag. Oh, it's totally bendable and breakable.
It does look pretty solid. You do have that one point of possible smush.
Leverage.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Where you separate Brian and Scott from the rest of the device.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's they look really cool. If you're all wondering why yesterday we didn't make a giant noise about it, it's because y'all bought them already. They're sold out for now. For now,
yeah, and it's less a matter of because obviously I just make them to order. But right now, if you were to place an order, I wouldn't be able to ship it before the Etsy cutoff date of like, all right, you better ship or we're going to give you a bad seller rating. So
yeah.
So we'll talk about it on the show next week.
Yeah, and Etsy only takes like 84% now. It's fine. It's a very generous split over there at Etsy.
Yeah, very generous. So I get 8 cents for this. Oh, thank you
Thanks a lot. Thanks,
kind,
Etsy.
Generous tip.
Yeah, thanks for the storefront. Anyway, hey Amy, let's talk about some reading. She comes on the show and recommends books and all that stuff. What do you have today?
I do. Well, I have a little bit of housekeeping that I need to bring up. So one of the people who very kindly responded to our survey back, if you remember, the end of last year, we did a survey.
Oh, yeah.
And they expressed, I don't have it in front of me, else I would read it directly to you. But essentially, this person was expressing dismay at my recommendation of a lot of audiobooks. And they were like, just do regular books. So I just want to clarify, all of the books that I recommend are actual paper books. They just happen to have an audiobook copy that you can get. And this is an audio show, so I figured clips from the audiobook are a good idea sometimes.
Isn't this the old this is the old age-old Cold War that we always have about audiobooks versus regular books. And it's annoying to me because they're the same damned content, two different delivery methods. It's fine either way. So if she says to you, I recommend book A from author B, you can go read the paper one. It's not
right.
It's the same book.
I encourage people to do that. Absolutely.
Right.
It's consume this art however you can.
Yeah. Sometimes the audio ones include extra stuff that you wouldn't get in the book version. Like if you're going to read World War Z, the book from Max, forgot his last name, Brooks, Max
Headroom.
Brooks.
Okay.
Yes, Max Headroom, noted
Headroom.
author Max Headroom, Matt Fuhrer. Anyway, if you wanted to read that book, you would get the book and you would have a good time. But if you want to get the audiobook, you would get Alan Alda and a whole bunch of fancy actor people doing different parts, still reading the book verbatim, but with a little music and a little extra acting and stuff like that. So sometimes those have extra stuff, but beyond that, it's the same damn stuff.
Same damn stuff.
Yeah.
Just get what you're gonna get. It's
like
fine.
I said, a lot of times I really like, particularly with things that are autobiographies and stuff, if the author has any skill on a mic at all with reading their own stuff, like for example Jenny Lawson, it's great because she just reads it like she's telling a story, and every once in a while she'll give you a little parenthetical in the audiobook that's not in the actual printed book because she just goes off on a tangent because that's how her brain works, and it's amazing and I love her. So anyway, this was not to defend myself, but rather to encourage this responder. Hey, absolutely, 100%. There is a paper copy of every book I have recommended. So if anything sounded good, but you were like, oh, but I don't like audiobooks, feel free, go get the regular paper book because they're all actual books first.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
And Bobby Frank says that I'm too nice and that he would never solicit people's opinion on his segment.
It's got a point.
There's a point to that.
We're a pretty, this community can be relied upon for not being too wackadoo, but
Yeah.
But
And it's
you know.
that age-old thing, and this is one of the first things that Gary Vaynerchuk probably talks about in his keynote speeches at, at Podcast Movement. But if you get one comment from somebody, yeah, pay attention to it, but you could probably disregard it. But if you start getting 5 or 10 comments about your show and something you need to change, then that's where you start.
Yeah, it's the Raylan
start
Givens
paying
thing,
attention.
right? The
Yeah,
whole
exactly. Exactly.
you're the a-hole, if one guy says it, he might be an a-hole, but if everyone says it, you're the a-hole or whatever. It's like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm sure I nailed the exact reading of that that thing that he said.
Yeah, and
all
I
right.
did not take this at all as a
you were
dig
being
at
an
me,
a-hole.
or or this person being an a-hole at all. I didn't take it as a dig or a
of
harsh
course.
criticism at all. I just was like, oh, I feel I should clarify.
Yeah.
know?
No, that's good. It's good that you do that.
What I'm hearing is that
Yes.
you're super pissed and you'd like to have a war with this person online.
I
Essentially,
totally
that
am.
is, I'm getting
Everybody
the
go
underlying-
flame this
yeah.
person, even though I haven't said their name because I don't remember what it is.
Oh.
So there you go.
Look,
Just
you
go
can say
Wow.
it's
Wow.
okay to just
flame
say
a random Tad.
you can say diced tomato out loud. It's
and
okay.
then you like further. Oh, then you say, I don't even care enough to remember this person's name. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a certain tomato. Certain tomato. It's a certain way of
tomato.
dicing it.
A certain way of preparing a
Yep, I understand.
a love apple. Yes.
Yeah, a love apple. Nice.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Have you not
great.
heard the
Alright.
term love
I've
apple?
never heard a love apple before.
I mean that's a term for tomatoes. Like
Why?
yes, can I have some love apples on my salad, please?
Why is it called that? What? Why?
I don't know
I'm
why.
afraid is it because it's squishy?
Um,
Like,
Yes.
I mean, ew.
Squishy like love? I don't know.
okay, so it refers
is-
to Brian is absolutely right. It refers to a tomato, but also it says it could be a wax apple they're referring to, which is a little bit weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could have gone with you on like a peach being a love apple because
Oh yeah, sure.
it was a peach,
Yeah,
But,
well, you could eat one of those for an hour.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
So-
where they ever got the term love apples. but-
No, that's really weird,
hilarious.
but I love it.
I'm putting that in my lexicon.
I'm-
All right, so
Yeah.
without further ado, now that I've started a war, let's read about a different type of war. So this is one of my favorite books that I read growing up. Last week we did like a little kids book, so now we're stepping it up a little bit. This is a what kids would call a chapter book now, and it's a great little book for somebody who's at the age where they need something a little more meaty. They can read some chapters, but it's not a hard read. But it's also great for adults to read because it's just funny. So let's go with that.
Okay.
And with that, we will say Carlos's idea at the meeting at Maxie Hammerman's was too complicated for him to explain in English. Maxie Hammerman had to explain it for him. Maxie Hammerman spoke Spanish and 12 other languages. He had to, being the pushcart king. Carlos wishes to say, Maxie Hammerman began, that the problem is to make people see who is blocking the streets. Certainly, said Harry the hot dog. But how? Carlos has described to me a very clever pea shooter that his youngest boy has made. Carlos says that the pea shooter shoots not just ordinary peas, but peas with a pin stuck in them. Children, said Papa Peretz, you have to watch them every minute. For example, my grandson... Wait, Papa Peretz. We are coming to the point. The point is, Carlos has told his boy that he must never use such a pea shooter to shoot at people, as it would not be so nice to put a pin in someone's arm. That is what I mean. Wait. Carlos's little boy replies, then what good is the pea shooter? Carlos does not know how to answer, and he feels bad because the shooter is very cleverly made, and it is a shame if the boy cannot use it at all. Then suddenly, when Papa Peretz says at this meeting that we need a secret weapon, Carlos is happy. He sees what the shooter is good for. To put pins in the truck drivers? Carlos shook his head. No, Maxie Hammerman replied. It is Carlos's belief that even truck drivers are people. He has told his little boy that he must never shoot at people, and he does not wish to set a bad example. Then what good is the pea shooter? Asked Frank the Flower. Carlos spoke very excitedly to Maxie Hammerman in Spanish. Aha, said Maxie Hammerman. Carlos says we will not, of course, shoot at the truck drivers. We will shoot at the truck tires. He says we will kill the truck tires. Bang! Says Carlos, pointing an imaginary truck tire. Bang, bang! It was a word he had learned from his boy. Then, Goma vacía, said Carlos. Goma vacía, Maxie Hammerman explained, meant Spanish in flat tire. Meant in Spanish, flat tire. See, Carlos nodded, blowing his breath out and sinking to the floor as if he were a truck tire going flat. Morris the florist took off his hat. Such an idea! For such an idea, Carlos could be president of the USA. President, said Papa Perez. How can the president speak Spanish? Never mind the president. It is a good idea. Good, said General Anna. It is beautiful. I see the picture. The question is, who is blocking the traffic? All right, we kill the truck tires, and suddenly everywhere in the streets, big dead trucks. They can't move. They are blocking everything. People look around, and every block they see 6, 7, 8 dead trucks. People will see who is blocking the traffic. Of course, said Mr. Jerusalem. It is not such a nice thing to do. Not nice, said Morris the florist, compared to smashing a man's cot so badly that it can never be fixed. It is a very nice thing to do. And scene.
Scene. You know, I feel like someone's gonna get rubbed out in this mob scene we're watching.
Oh my goodness.
That was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Is there anything left in the book?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Sorry. I know.
I'm just kidding.
Long, but yeah. So the book is called The Pushcart War, and it's by Jean Merrill. And it's fiction, but it reads as a historical account, and it's sort of set in the 60s. And it's funny because it was written in the 60s, but it's the narrator tells it as though they're telling it from the 80s, and so it's supposed to be this near future fiction, but for us it's actually like the past. But anyway, it's set in the 60s, and the issue at hand is that the pushcart vendors, like food trucks and you see in New York, on the streets of New York, are literally being pushed around by the big delivery trucks. And, and so the truck drivers and the pushcart vendors all have this, their little armies set up trying to sway public opinion one way or the other. And of course, the people running the truck companies want to keep the trucks on the street, and the pushcart vendors just want to be allowed to push their pushcarts. And it all started when Morris the florist went head first into a pickle barrel because his cart was smashed by a big truck. Wow. And it's great. It's about 180 pages. You can literally read it in an afternoon. But it's got really cute illustrations. But yeah, and the chapters are very, very short. So again, it's great for young readers, but also, it's just very funny because all the characters read that way. Like you hear those type of voices in your head because they say things like that, like such an idea, or, like, oh, would I lead such an army? That kind of thing.
I love when characterization comes out in the words in the books. It's hard, right? That's a hard thing to write. Yeah. It's great when it becomes obvious.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I remembered reading this as a kid, and I don't think I really got it, honestly, when I read it as a kid, but it's still super fun to read as an adult. And it's got kind of some good messaging in there as well. Like, it starts off with an introduction saying, it's important when studying war to really understand how wars begin. Yeah. But wars on our more modern stages are so big and sprawling that it's very difficult to, really, really zero in on where the problem began. Whereas with an incident like this, where you've got a truck driver smashing a pushcart vendor's cart, you know exactly where it started, and then you can sprawl out from there and see how it begins and how it ends, and it's fantastic. It's just great fun. You've got a corrupt mayor in here. You've got some, the truck drivers acting like, members of the mafia. You got your pushcart vendors who are, sort of the underdogs. It's good fun. I recommend it.
Nice. It seems like a good pick. Nicely done.
Give me the name again.
It's called The Pushcart War by Jean Merrill.
Pushcart War.
Yep. A bloody affair, and worth checking out. So,
yeah.
Well done as always, Amy. It's always fun having you on, and I loved the reading, and that was great. And I can't wait for more. That'll be every frickin' Thursday that we can think of that she'll be back and talking about books. So get your read on, everybody. Red Fraggle 3, wherever you find her. Amy, have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
You too. Bye.
And just checked, available in hard copy as well as audiobook.
Oh, good. Well, and she even did her own reading, so clearly she's just got the paper business there.
Right. Yes, exactly.
We're giving that guy so much heat, and he doesn't deserve it.
I know. No, he doesn't deserve it.
It's totally fine. All right. What the hell are we doing now? We're going to do some quick news. We have time for a little bit, so we're going to go for it here.
Good morning, everybody. In the news this morning, good morning.
Time for the news, and it's brought to you by
a tribute to a guitarist that we lost yesterday due to bacterial meningitis. An incredible guitarist. He was a member of the Yardbirds. He was a member of the Honey Drippers with Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. Talking about Jeff Beck, who I get to see back in 2016 when he came through town with ZZ Top. Great show. So, yes, a Jeff Beck tribute today on Coverville. Mostly covers by Jeff Beck because dude covered so much stuff, and there'll be some Yardbirds covers in there as well, but a lot of new stuff that he covered that's really, really good.
Nice. It was really sad to hear about that.
Yeah.
Bacterial meningitis is freaking no joke, man.
It's no joke, but it's treatable if you catch it.
If you can catch it early, it absolutely is. Yeah, earlier the better. Yeah. I had a guy I worked for once who had it so bad that his entire face was just broken out in the horrible pockets of infection, and it was getting toward his brain or whatever. So they put him on these hardcore antibiotics, and it eventually was okay. But if he'd have gone untreated, that would have been it.
Yeah,
really bad.
Oh, it's
really bad.
Jeez. Rough stuff. Anyway, today, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, twitch.tv/Coverville.
Here is your story of the morning, which is probably all we're going to have time for. Utah porn-sniffing dog has died after putting numerous offenders behind bars.
Ooh, sounds suspicious.
Mm-hmm. It's a little suspicious.
Maybe it's just the book that Amy read to us, but I don't know. It feels like there's something else something else afoot.
That's right. Someone's out to get the dog that put him behind bars. After a life of sniffing out criminals, the retired porn-sniffing dog called URL, literally that, like the initial is of URL. You want to call him
I wonder
Earl
if that
for short.
stood for something.
I don't know. What does it stand for in
URL?
What is it in
Uniform Resource Locator?
There it is. Yeah.
Maybe that's what he is. He's a uniformed resource locator.
Could be. The resource he's looking for is, illegal porn.
That's right, exactly.
He died on the 30th. Weber County Sheriff's Office URL was the fourth dog in the country to be certified and trained as an electronic storage detection canine. Detective Cameron Hartman and the K-9 completed more than 200 search warrants where they obtained digital evidence for cases mostly involving child sexual exploitation material and or child sexual abuse material. The list of the remarkable finds for the K-9 include USB drives disguised as a key on a key ring full of keys, a micro SD card, and a closed baby food jar. Let's see, and a pencil box full of other items that were inside a large cedar chest. Good Lord. And then finally, an SD card up high on a shelf, a cell phone hidden in a book, and even cell phone parts hidden in a wall behind a toilet in the Weber County Jail, according to the sheriff's office. The almost 8-year-old police dog recovered dozens of critical pieces of digital evidence that otherwise would have been overlooked and provided emotional support to officers working in the stressful realm of child exploitation and to the children who were scared during search warrants. URL and his handler Hartman worked on many law enforcement agencies in the state, including the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, FBI Child Exploitation Task Force, Department of Homeland Security, Utah Department of Corrections, and the Weber Morgan Narcotics Strike Force. So he was a good dog. He was a good boy.
He was a good boy. He was the goodest dog ever. I'm thinking of, it's probably pronounced Earl. They probably called him Earl.
Probably.
Even though he spelled it URL. And so he's less like a porn sniffing dog and more a flash drive sniffing dog.
Yes. Which is if anything, it's more fascinating to me because
I mean, I can't imagine that porn has a smell like, I can smell a copy of Jugs magazine a mile away.
Exactly. Like if you're after child porn, you would be after hard drives and USB sticks and all of that. So training an animal to be aromatically sensitive to those devices is such an odd thing to me. It's such a weird thing.
It blows my mind that you can. That's great.
Dogs are great, man. Freaking dogs. Dogs are awesome. All right. Well,
they can smell cancer. Apparently, like that's what somebody said.
That's true. They can tell. Also, what was the thing I heard the other day? They're good at smelling all kinds of changes. So if like you're going through something, or like if somebody that the dog knows has a chemical change in their own brain, the dog can often sense it. Yeah. Dogs, man. They're great.
Seizures coming, stuff like that. Diabetes. Wow.
That big fleshy weird nose of theirs. It's good stuff. It's good.
Pretty dang powerful. Wish we had that. Well, maybe I don't. Maybe there's maybe it's like a blessing and a curse. They're like, oh God, the stuff I smell, you don't even want. You don't want this. Superpower.
Maybe they don't mind. I mean, I always think because they'll go out and just like full on snork up some other dog's poo at the park or whatever.
You show up at somebody's house and
they like it.
Got all dressed up and you even took a shower before you went over there, and that dog still goes right up the.
They don't have the aversions. They don't have the aversions we do, which is for good or for ill.
Clearly, they don't. Yeah,
occasionally. Ripley will eat another dog's poo, and that's no good. We don't want that.
Delicacy.
Yeah, it's a fancy little treat.
Ooh, it's a dachshund. Oh, bring it on.
Oh yeah, diabetic alert dogs. I've heard of that. So if somebody's spiking, especially with type 1, if their insulin levels get all out of whack, the dog can tell before the person can even tell. I'm gonna like poke them in the butt and sniff, rub at their arm and stuff. Like, dude, check your blood.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's take a break. When we come back, my sister Wendy will be here. Are you happy, Claire? You've been begging the whole time in the chat. Well, good news. Wendy is here today. We got an email that we've been holding on to for a while. So we're going to get to all of that in a second, but we can't do any of that until we have a song. Brian, please take a song and make it play.
Sure. Down to Fort Worth, Texas, somebody that Spin Magazine called one of the 35 best lesser-known artists of the last 35 years. That says a lot. This is a guy named Ryan Hamilton. He signed with Steven Van Zant's Wicked Cool label in June and went on a sold-out tour with The Alarm out in the UK. We love The Alarm. He is Ryan Hamilton. He's got a brand new album called Haunted by the Holy Ghost. It comes out March 10th. You've got to wait, 2 months to wait for this thing, but this will tide you over. Here is the title track of Haunted by the Holy Ghost by Ryan Hamilton.
I think that's a Ursula Merger right there. See, like the handle of the ladle?
It's called Ursa Major, not Ursula Merger. And that's not even it. That's Orion.
Oh,
and she didn't even have to look up.
I was the last high priest dedicated to Uranus.
The morning stream. Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed.
And we returned. Who was that again? That was great.
Sure. That's Ryan Hamilton from his brand new album, which comes out in March, called Haunted by the Holy Ghost. That right there is the title track.
Yes. To answer the chat's question, will Wendy be in Vegas? We are discussing it. I don't know if
cool.
I don't know if she's finally decided or not, but I think she definitely wants to go. If she does, I'm going to try to rope her into your contest if possible.
Okay.
Because
I can do that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll add a few extra dollars, but it'll be fun.
Oh, it adds money every time we add people?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it later then.
But it's worth. But it'd be worth it to see.
It might be
Wendy.
worth it. Yeah. Oh, hi. It's my sister Wendy. Wait, Wendy. We
hi.
My sister Wendy, who was very briefly in town and then out of town again. Which I'm sad we didn't get to see it, but I assume everything went well, other than the horrible reason you were traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was no fun.
No, not at all.
You know what's cool though? I think it's worth bringing this up just in general, real quick here. Wendy's got these friends she's had in high school, and they've been close like forever, since high school and forward. So every year or something, you guys all do a getaway or some kind of retreat. I don't have anybody in high school like that. Like I don't have any friends that have like I've retained to that level where we're always got a thing going or we're always got each other's backs, and when something bad happens, everybody kind of gathers around. So I think that's a very cool thing that you cultivated there. Cool. And I think you're lucky.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I think I have to say this because there was the normal years where you kind of separate and do your own things, and everyone went to different colleges and everyone kind of did their stuff. And then this is the weird part. Like what brought us back together was kind of, hey, have you guys heard of blogs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we made our own blog where only we read it, and we were such idiots. And we just each wrote posts, you know. And then we figured out like that's stupid. Why don't we? And then it's like technology gave us some things after that just made it work. And so I feel like it is really rare and it's really cool, and I'm super, super grateful for them because they would do anything for me and I would do anything for them. And I don't think that's super common. But it kind of went in waves, and then it came back. And now as we're like aging together, you're like, we're going to be crazy old ladies together. So.
Yep. That's right. Good. And that's the golden years, Wendy. That's where you're headed.
We're going to be the Golden Girls, except they were like 40 in the show. That freaks me out, or however.
Yeah, they were young, like 50. I think Blanche was 52.
Really?
Yeah, gosh, the youngest one there was the one that played the oldest was actually the youngest.
She was the best.
Yeah, she was great, but she also got Alzheimer's before any of the rest of them even got to her age. It's crazy. Yeah, that's why she died. But that, like, if you really want to feel old, go read up about how the Golden Girls, how old they all were when they made that show.
Jeez,
like,
it'll freak you out real good.
Kidding. I don't think I need to know that.
Yeah, Brian and I were Blanche's age. Oh my Lord. Anyway,
wow.
I was also the other day I was looking at how old everybody on Seinfeld was. That's also weird. When they started, Elaine was 28. Jerry, Jerry was 35. George was just barely 30. And and Kramer was 41. Think of that.
Wow.
Kramer's almost ageless because you don't think of him as a person with an age.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yes.
I definitely didn't think of him as 41. It's really weird.
Plucked out of some weird time.
Yeah. Anyway, age is weird, and we're gonna do an email today. Let's go. Oh, and then so Wendy, I mentioned this before you got on, but we have been in discussion about possible Vegas for you in April, and we're there. And so everybody who last year was like giving me crap because I didn't tell Wendy about the dates. That would
like the Thursday before.
Yeah. That was just bad planning on my part and bad assumptions and all kinds of stuff. But we're talking early here. Nothing yet to announce, but we obviously we would always love to have Wendy there.
For sure.
I will definitely come now that I have time to, plan. Tell me the dates. Do you have them?
I thought I gave
April 23rd, which is the Sunday. We need you to come in Sunday possibly, through the 27th, which is the Thursday.
Yeah, Brian's doing a thing that if you want to be involved in it, you can. But it's like what do you call it, Brian? What's the name of it?
It's called Taskville.
Taskville.
It is, based on stolen from a UK game called Taskmaster.
Yeah, and you basically solve puzzles, and we did it last year, and it was kind of a riot. So
are you gonna just highlight how dumb I am in other ways?
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what it is. That's what he did to me. All of us who were involved, it was all a matter of.
That's not the plan. No,
it was all. It was all about
a great side effect.
Who is the least dumb?
It just happens to be a great side effect. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like whoever's the least stupid.
I'm all for public humiliation. That's fine.
Oh, good.
Sweet.
There'd be lots of that.
But anyway, we'll talk more. For today, though, we're going to talk about an email that you sent a while ago, and then holidays and busyness and all that stuff got in the way, and so we haven't had a chance to do it. So we're going to do it today. This is somebody who we can say their name is Real Stepper. Or they are a real stepper is what they are.
They're the real step. They are the real step.
That's right. They're part of your deal. And they say this. Hi, Wendy. Whenever you talk about FOO or FOO and reparenting yourself on TMS, I immediately feel guilty about my kids needing to reparent themselves in the future. Besides knowing better and doing better and no longer modeling crappy behavior because I'm working through my own FOO, what do I do now besides therapy, which we're doing? I'm asking your advice here for all the other TMS listeners who hear about how FOO screwed them up and how saying to themselves, quote, "But I'm my kids. FOO, what can I do now?" Everyone should have to take a parenting class and therapy before becoming parents. Thanks. So this real stepper gets real specific about the whole FOO issue. And for those who are just joining in and have not heard you talk FOO in the past, tell them what it is again so we can.
Yeah. So FOO, FOO stands for Family of Origin. So that's Scott for me.
Yep.
And I am Scott's FOO.
Yep.
It's.
And when we disagree, we're Foo Fighters.
I was waiting for that. That's pretty good. That's really
write
good.
that down. You can use it for your next thing. Somehow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we know what FOO means for them?
I don't know.
It does. It's Foo Fighters are like Air Force or any planes that were sent out to fight UFOs.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
UFOs
cool.
are the FOOs. Those are the FOOs.
That's actually really cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is cool. And also your family of origin issues show up there too. They always do.
That was they coined it in World War II. That's great. That's even cooler.
Yeah.
Because back then they didn't know nothing about nothing, so they'd see a blink in the sky and go, "Foo Fighters, go!" Anyway,
right.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So FOO is your family of origin, and it really is just shortcut lingo for therapists to write on a notepad as they're understanding your background. But I like to just say it out loud because it's a good word. But that idea is essentially how you grew up, who you grew up with, the parenting you received, the parenting you didn't receive, kind of all that stuff combined can sometimes create challenges. And we think of it as your family of origin issues, basically. Right. Okay, so this person is saying, first of all, hey, real stepper. Second of all,
hey there.
That's our secret. That's our secret high.
That's the.
That's how we talk to each other when we
don't need a secret handshake. You have a secret high, and it just happens
it's like,
to be high.
Yeah, it just happens to be high.
And it's a lower dumb voice, like hey.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Hey.
So anyway, hey. Okay. So that is a really interesting moment when you're figuring out your stuff, right? Because the moment will come where you already have children and you're like, oh no, what am I doing? I think it comes naturally for a lot of parents to just be like, I don't want to screw my kid up. Well, guess what? The only reason you would even have that thought is because you have some FOO issues, right? You'd normally, if you just didn't have much family of origin stuff, you'd just be like, I'm going to be a great parent, moving on,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone in the world, there's anyone left that does that, but there's definitely, when you're already clued into, oh no, I don't want to screw this up. That's just because you're living the life of a parent and you grew up and you experience many moments where you're like, can I have a redo? Like, that was not what I meant. I'm exhausted and I just handled that totally poorly and da-da-da-da. Now, where FOO gets interesting is, of course, as you start to look at it and go a little deeper, everybody's got something. And usually the reason you find it is because you clash with someone else's foo. So for example, if you partner with somebody, let's say they celebrated holidays really differently than you, or how they handle money is really different from how you handle money, or whatever their style is around something. Like you marry somebody who grew up with a ton of siblings and they're used to chaos and noise, and maybe you're an only child, and then you get together and you're like, why do you want it loud and why do you need it so quiet? Like, those aren't foo in the sense of like, oh, this is so bad, but you still have to adjust, right? But what it does show, it can bring to the surface, oh, we talked a certain way, we solved problems a certain way, we showed anger, love, different things like that in different ways. And then that's where conflict will arise. So if you're not partnered, the other way this shows up is in your workplaces. Usually we can find lots of these things, foo items, when you repeat patterns. So for example, if you were shamed to bits to perform. Oh, by the way, I'm still coaching basketball. It's going gangbusters.
Yeah.
We've won 2 games out of 100, guys. We're doing awesome.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I know. 2 whole games.
Really exceeding the expectations. Yeah. Good Lord.
Anyway, but one of the things I've learned is that there is a temptation. I have felt it to like bribe these kids to play harder, or like, hey, listen, I will give you something if you will just make a basket, like there is kind of this, whatever. And this idea of like, I'm going to model motivation, and I'm going to give you a thing, which by the way, ruins the love of any game, is if you start paying somebody to perform it for you, or grades, different things. I could do a whole segment on how our inclination as parents to get a result, leads to us destroying the love a child has for anything, by the way. Yeah. But that idea of, right, like I can start to model, hey, this is how we get love, or this is how we avoid shame. So if shame is my tool, right, then people will perform to avoid the shame, and then say that they're doing that as a kid. They're doing it in my house. And, clean your room. You're a big fat slob and people will never love you. Or what mom would say when I would burp at a table, and she'd be like, you are going to be on a date and that burp's going to come out of your mouth and no one will want to love you. And you're like, okay, guess what?
Did mom really say that?
Yeah, totally. Everyone still loves me and I can still burp like a man.
Yeah, you can. You guys have no idea. For a second, just for one quick moment, side note, Wendy burps like a freaking, I don't know how to explain it. People like
a frat boy.
There are people in Nevada
100%.
who they're picking her up on seismographs and stuff. She is such a burper.
Let me say one of the ingredients to the bonding of my high school friends is we can all do that.
Really? That's the common thread.
So is this like this get together thing that.
And we all talk about how our moms threatened us, and then we all talk about how our husbands don't care, and our boys think we're especially cool. So.
Yeah.
So it's how you bond as high schoolers, learn a skill together. Anyway, okay. So the point is, like, you can create shame around using shame to parent. And then the kid associates feeling terrible about themselves or their efforts and do whatever they can to avoid shame. Now, fast forward 25 years, 20 years, something, and you keep having experiences where you are promising way too much and underperforming, and then staying up all night or giving it all, or like burning yourself out because you're trying to avoid shame. Now, most people are just going, why do I keep doing that? I don't know. And then do it again and do it again, do it again. And that's where foo investigation can be very fruitful. It's like, what am I actually doing here? What am I trying to avoid? And then what your brain does, which is really my favorite part of therapy, is it starts to just show you a slideshow. It's like, remember that? And sometimes it's just this moment, like we did with your baseball game, Scott, or your baseball team.
Yeah.
It will show you these bits and pieces of sort of when and how you were trained to sort of interact with your emotional self in certain ways, because that's how your family did it. So I'm going to ask both of you just this quick question about your foo, but your like ancient foo. And then I will answer the emailer's question.
Ancient foo.
But your ancient foo, meaning, do you know anything about any family issues from generations before your parents or grandparents. So not people you knew.
Yes.
Right.
Just give me like a really old one from the
here's
old
the one, the only one I actually know is that who would, I guess he would have been my grandfather. My mother's dad, real dad, served in World War II and came home kind of broken and left everybody. That's all I know.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So that's some foo that I'm aware of.
That's some old foo.
Yeah.
That's some old foo. And that foo, I've thought.
I don't even know how real the foo is, to be honest. I assume it's, there's probably nuance.
So what I want to point out is that the food, it doesn't have to happen to you to still be part of the experience that shapes you. So for example, let's take, Mom doesn't listen to the show anymore, does she?
No, hell no.
Okay. All right. So for example, and I don't know if you know this, but Mom's mom, so grandma, whose husband left her after he came back from World War II, her father left their family.
Oh.
So that is second generation. And then the family before. So we are talking 3 generations of women. I am the first out of the 4 generations that my father didn't leave.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I did not know that's probably the thing to know.
But take every one of these women, mom included, their husbands left.
Yeah.
And then everyone got an awesome stepdad that came in. And dad is Mark's stepdad.
Yeah,
but
my
he's
brother's
our
stepdad. He's our dad.
But dad is the only one who stayed. He is the chain breaker.
He was our full dad. Yeah, he is the chain breaker. You're right.
He's the chain breaker, right? And so you could look at that and you could just go, that's crazy coincidence. Or maybe there's something that passes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of goes, and we'll use terms like generational trauma to explain some of this. There's more systemic versions of that, but then there's within a family, sometimes you can find a line. So you take someone in the Great Depression, lost everything. What does that look like? And how the next generation handles money. And so it's the legacy, as it were, of emotional behavior and experiences that you're kind of handing down. Right. And you can change that. You can break that. So dad came in and stayed. And fortunately, I was not the firstborn. So I got to be the first woman in 4 generations whose father didn't leave.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And I'm so grateful. I can't even explain the level of gratitude because I know what that did. And these women, and this is a long time ago, guys, like there was not a lot of single mom love anywhere. Right.
No.
So can you imagine?
Yeah, no, that was an embarrassment that you hid and didn't talk about. In fact, that's why it feels so legendary in our family with grandma, is that it was very hush hush. It was like a secret,
Right. And then for that to just stop because a dad didn't leave is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But when you think about what the then separate legacy can be, and this is what I want to say to the real stepper here, is that as you figure out your foo, what you do is stop some of these bigger things from happening, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you don't parent with shame anymore. I'm using that because it is a common foo for people.
Shame is
because it is effective, y'all. If you're just like, you're the worst, do this better, I won't love you.
Hungarian, well, any Eastern European origin, shame is big. Guilt and shame. Yeah.
Guilt and shame. Yeah. So if you're using that and that's how you've operated, it's really easy to do it to the next generation. But if you can figure out this foo, you can get the help that you need. You can stop the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you, you will not pass on generational foo. You can be the chain breaker if you do your work. Now, are you going to make little mistakes? Yes. Are you going to create your own kids' foo anyway? Yeah, you are. But it might be that you hug them too much, or it might be that you worry a little too much, or it could be things that are not these catastrophic, core self-esteem things.
Mm-hmm.
It can be other things, right? So what I'm getting at is you're not going to be perfect. Your kid will talk about you in therapy one day. Like just if you can plan on that and hold that a little lighter, it'll be fine. It's the big stuff you've got to worry about, and that's where your main work will come. And most of the little stuff works itself out as they get older, right? Because they kind of grow up and see that they're not smart and you're great. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm hoping that. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's what we're all hoping. Right? Yes.
I get
So,
that.
Brian, how about you? Do you have a generational, a way back story?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of, and it is shame related, but it was my grandmother's mother hiding the fact that that her father, when he was buried, was Jewish. So, and it wasn't like, protecting him from Nazis or anything like that. No, it was out of shame. Like, oh God, he was Jewish, so we can't let anybody in the family know about this. So I don't know if that's, I mean, that's kind of like I don't know if that's a thing that we can break the cycle of so much. I mean, every Christmas I eat little coin-shaped candy chocolates, and I spin a dreidel, and I'm not ashamed of my 132nd Jewish heritage, so I'm fine.
So you broke it, right? You broke the.
I've broken it, yes, by embracing my inner.
Does it help?
Jew.
Okay,
Yes.
that actually brings up a question I have, Wendy. Does it help that Brian can break it partially? Part of it's just because he's Brian and he can break things.
Yeah.
but isn't part of it is that the world also changes, a culture evolves or whatever to either be more accepting of certain things, more closed off to other things, more willing to call out bad 100%. Behavior, celebrate good behavior, that sort of thing. Is it possible that helps?
Current stuff has shown that we backslide. That the world is kind of backsliding with.
Well,
its
a little bit, but does it? Because I actually think maybe it's the opposite, because we legitimately freak out when people start sliding in that direction.
Right.
And so I
think it's still the same few number of people, but now they've got a voice, and now we can kind of like push them,
part of it is you don't have to do the shame thing anymore. All you have, or whoever, all you have to do is just stand up and say it, and you have the majority opinion. The majority opinion is Nazis are bad and Kanye West is wrong, and
that's our majority opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas back in your grandmother's
wasn't always
day,
the case.
your great grandmother's day was more like hush hush, keep it quiet. The world's weird. We don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that's a positive thing.
That's true, actually.
Does it make it so? Wendy, the question to you is: is that a factor for Brian or anyone else that they can break some of these chains, and the chains that Dad broke? Is it because of when he came around? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like in your time, more than say in times past, you have a bigger opportunity to break the chain. I don't know.
Yes, I absolutely think so. I think what you find is that, and this could be an interesting discussion of, someone might say, oh, well, families don't, stay together like they used to. Well, families a lot of times stayed together because of societal forces that required one person to not be a whole person, or required, the public shaming. Think about divorce previously, or those types of things. I mean, it was just, you were nothing but an utter failure. And so society has shifted so that there are options for people to lead different lives when something difficult happens in their families. And, women can, there are still laws. Actually, I'm not sure if there's any left yet where it's still legal for men to rape their wives. I think that one has finally shifted, but I want to say not too long ago is still 11 states. So you look at just the difference in the ability to do something different, to break free of some social norm that was held in place, might look really messy. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of something to point out here with FOO issues is 100%, that's a big number, of FOO issues usually are just keep the rules that we've created, right? So if we think about a family dynamic where the rule is you perform at the highest level all the time, or you're a shame to this family, okay? Mm-hmm. You're going to do everything to follow that rule. There's another family where the rule is you do not reveal anything that's going on under this roof to anyone else, right? So you follow that rule. And what talking to a therapist and then working through these FOO issues most of the time will entail is breaking those family rules. Mm-hmm. Or, seeing them for the first time. And this is where things get a little tricky, because I would say the first half of my career, I was very much like, let's write a letter to that person. Let's share how we really feel. Let's, And I have really changed my my tune on that, because it's assuming that the other person will get this new information, that someone's trying to make a change and trying to heal, and they're going to go, well, good for you. But really what it is you've broken the code of silence in our family, and it makes some of the healing much harder. So I tend to have people write letters they never send and process a lot before there's any kind of confrontation. And they tend to do much better, and sometimes don't even need the confrontation.
Do they ever? Do you ever worry that those people's letters are going to get discovered if they're designed to never be sent, but then the person who would get it somehow got it and then went, "Oh crap! I didn't mean for that to go out." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have a rule. You can type it out if you want, but then you have to delete it, or you write it in paper and you burn it. Like there's a process to it that.
Right.
It's also just not actually writing a letter you would send. It's vomiting on a page, right? And then you wouldn't send that anyway.
No.
So it's like finally having the safety to process what you have gone through. And as you realize, I think that's another big piece here is you're swimming in the water you are swimming in until you realize, oh, this water is not great, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't even know there was water. And so that awakening or changing and that really can disrupt a family dynamic. I like to think of it, and I think of death as some sort of like this as well. Like imagine, cats in the cradle with the little string kids play with. Do kids do that anymore? Probably not.
No. There's actually an app that you can.
Oh, okay. All right. You guys know what All right.
I love it. The app's taking care of that too. Oh boy.
But imagine like a large rope, and everyone's holding on to an intricate pattern of weaving of this rope, but each person in the family is holding on to a part of it. And a death will do this where, of course, someone lets go and everyone has to adjust. They're kind of falling back and trying to figure out the new norm. And this can happen when someone discovers that they've been harmed in a family in a deep psychological way. They have to do something different. They are going to change. And it's like letting go of the family rope and saying, okay, I can't participate. This is harming me too much. Right. And so people have to adjust. And sometimes that means, you've broken the rule, you're out, So there are many, many chain breakers who end up being very alone. And having to start over is really tough. And there's probably never a moment in their life where they're not wondering if it was worth all of it. But it is. And how I know it is I'm the kid who benefited from that. And so please believe me, but also that you can improve how you experience your life. That's the point, right? You find these things, do the work, and your relationships deepen and are better everywhere. It may be that the family of origin stuff doesn't get repaired because you got old dude in the corner who will not change one bit, Right. You can't control that.
Old dude in the corner that just won't change.
Everyone's got one.
Sure.
But just real quick, with the parenting your own children and being worried about you're creating the FOO. So, for example, I'm going to make you two confess. I'll confess as well. What is the FOO we've given our now FOO just means code for crappy inheritance.
I know.
You give your kid,
I've got one, but Brian, I want to hear yours first because mine has to do with actual podcasting. So.
Oh, really? Yeah, funny. Yeah, no, the FOO that we've scarred Tristan with is it could tend to lead to overeating. Like he was a cheek stuffer as a kid. Like he would, instead of just eating his damn food, he would just stuff it in his cheeks. And aside from the fact that caused some enamel issues, like a little chipmunk basically. And
wow.
Yeah, caused some enamel issues with his teeth, but also he did it because we would say you can't leave this table until your plate is clean, and so that was his method of getting around it. And then he just kind of kept doing it. And this was like, obviously as a very small toddler. But I'm worried that now we've scarred him, that he's going to feel like he can't leave a table until he's finished his food, and he's going to pass that on to his kids and start the cycle over and over.
Because there's starving kids in China, right? Like there's
probably always, I think we might have. I can't remember if we used that because that got used on Tina and I as kids, and we always thought it was bunk because we would just say, "Well, send them this."
Ooh, sassy.
Yeah, here, I'm not going to finish it. Send those starving kids this food. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, that's when they call
Right.
you on it.
And food, let me just say, I mean, the real steppers listening know we talk about this a lot of food is a great source material for foo, right?
It really is. I think I've even got some of that too. And it was, they did try to use the starving kids in Africa, but it was really just like we paid a lot of money for all this food and you better eat it kind of thing.
Yeah. And so if you think about, okay, so let's just take that very specific thing for a moment. So you can know your stuff. Let's say you're now a young father. And it's not too late.
It's way we're way past that, but yes, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that idea of like, okay, you're aware of it, you know that's how your parents handled it. So you work through some of those issues with food, which really would mean there are feelings attached to leftovers. There's feelings attached to not eating everything I'm looking at. There's feelings attached to sneaking, hiding, listening to mom complain about her body every day of your life, or always on a new diet, like all that stuff, a scale you're tripping over when you go in a bathroom, like you are surrounded by, and you don't realize it. And then of course the bigger culture is all telling you to diet all the time too. All of that stuff is foo around food and foo around weight and size. And then you work through all of that. Then you get a kid. And now you got a kid who's shoving food in their cheeks.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the moment where the rubber meets the road, where it's like, okay, how do I check myself with my stuff?
Right.
And then learn how to give this kid the freedom to develop their own relationship with food. And you're never going to do it perfectly, but you can definitely do a better job. So I've watched generations of women stop talking about dieting in front of their kids. And that was the norm for the 70s and 80s and 90s and probably 2000s, at least in my lifetime of my awareness. But I now know young mothers who will never say those words out loud in front of their children, never weigh themselves, never go on diets publicly, because they see it. They're just going to do it differently, right? Anyway, and so the rubber hits the road. That's the moment where you know. And so if you're getting triggered and you want to control a kid around a thing, that's usually a good sign that your foo is running into raising your kids. And then you can be more thoughtful, more mindful, take a step back, call your therapist, right? Like work through some of this. You'll never do the damage with awareness that you would ever do with the lack of awareness. That is truly the key.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Scott, how about you?
Okay.
How did you damage your kids?
This is a weird one, but I always assumed that me doing all this, like talking in front of people all the time, no problem getting up and speaking, this sort of thing, like that aspect of my life would be a good rub off thing, that the kids would see that and go, oh, well, I am also very confident in front of people. And I can also talk to anybody about anything, anytime, and fill dead space with conversation.
If it's like contagious or genetic,
something like that. Yeah. Or they would see me do it, or because they would participate in like nerdtaculars or whatever, they would have that also, that they would come away with that skill set, and not be as nervous about it. The opposite has been true, where that's made them more self-conscious, because, and I have to always remember this when I'm like, oh, come on, it's no big deal. If I could do it, you could, like that whole thing. I have to be careful with that. But so when they need to talk to someone about a resume, like Carter's going to try to apply at a really cool potential gig this week, which if it goes through, we'll tell everybody, but we'll wait till and see what happens. But, she's nervous about that process, where that process isn't nerve-wracking to me at all. Like, oh, I need to talk to somebody on Zoom. Great. Go ahead. Fire it up. Let's go. I do this all day. I can, it's not a problem. I think they feel intimidated by that in a way that's worse, because I'm over here making it seem like it's nothing, and to them it is absolutely something. And I'm not very sympathetic to how hard it is, or I try to be, but I don't notice it.
Like, basically, because you make it look effortless, even though we both experience effort.
Yeah.
But making it look effortless gives them the false hope that it's like, oh, I don't need to prepare or stress out or anything like that. And then, maybe they get up in front of somebody and they freak out because they don't realize how hard it is. And
I think that's part of it. I think part of it is just how do I put this? It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another example of this, and it only works.
Well, can I normalize them for
Please,
just a minute?
Yeah, do it.
The greatest number one fear humans have is public speaking.
For sure. Yep.
And you're like, kids, what? This is not hard. As if they're not like 99% of everyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So
you're absolutely
it's
right.
normal.
Yeah.
They're being normal. You're being abnormal. But the idea is that there's been an effect from it that you just didn't see would happen. You thought it would be
right. I'm the
easier.
outlier in this case. They're the normal ones, but in
Yeah.
my case, I see it and go, well, wait a minute, why is that so hard? It's not hard here, and you're my kids. You should know. Like there is a natural inclination to try to do that. I try really hard not to do that, though.
So if we translate, it's just like, I went to Harvard. You should go to Harvard.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like basically that's the trick. And I've done it. And early on, this is like, let's say when they were teenagers, in high school, junior high and stuff, I think is when it was the worst for them, for those expectations at a time in their life when most kids do want to shrink away and not be the loud one. They don't want all that attention. Right.
Yeah.
And so
they also grew up with flipping Snapchat and Instagram, and you didn't.
That's true. That's true. But it also didn't make it any easier that I had Instagram and Snapchat before they did. And I understood it. And I was never a parent
and
that was
you're
like,
cool. You're like a cool dad.
I was like, never, well, I just never was like, oh, I don't understand how this works. How's the internet work? Like that was never me, like most of their friends' parents. And so I think that added to it. So now it's a little different now because I understand it better, but I think I instilled a little bit of that back in the day in them.
Yeah. And that is a very natural one at Foo that shows up for all of us because we're pretty, this focalism thing where my experience is everyone's experience until you show me it's not. And then I'm confused because aren't you having my experience? Like our empathy response is how it kind of backfires. Like, I get that. Don't you get that this is how the world works because it works that way for me. And parents particularly struggle with this because your kid looks like you kind of and is carrying all your hopes and dreams. And shouldn't they like or do what we do? And here's where you can have your Foo and be like, hey, I went to Harvard, you should go to Harvard. And that can be an expectation or a dream of mine. And then there's the way you damage your kid with that, right? Which is, I'm going to secretly write your papers, which I know someone who did that while she was at Harvard, by the way.
Gosh.
Because that is so important that you uphold what I need you to uphold. And those kids are in a lot of pain. And that is someone not checking their Foo at all, right? So why is what I did way more valuable for my kid to follow in my footsteps than for my kid to be themselves, right? And you're not saying this. I know that because of anyone whose Foo is about letting you be yourself. You got a lot of that in our house growing up. And it's been really helpful for me because I really let Peter be who he is, and he is Scott Jr. And if he's not Scott Jr., he'll be something else. But like I have to give that kid a lot of space because I don't know what's coming.
That's
he came home from school yesterday and he goes, okay, Mom, I want to be a mechanical engineer, but to make money, I'm going to be a welder on the side.
like the woman in Flashdance. Basically.
Yeah,
totally. And I was like, I love that you think welders make way more than mechanical engineers, but also you're not maybe wrong.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Right,
Who knows?
So that changes every minute. But if I got hung up on any words coming out of his mouth or any like interest he's showing and just made that the new identity. And that's, I think, a common thing. Like, these kids are playing sports in 3rd and 4th grade that are every weekend, all weekend. Their identity gets formed so much around one or two things that are so intense or maybe too many things. And there's just not a lot of space. And you ask yourself, like, okay, is that parents? Is that the culture at large? Because I'm telling you, there's no 9th grader trying to out for the basketball team first game. That's not what's happening. And so everyone feels this pressure. So some of it might be Foo stuff. Some of it might be, societal pressures generally. So I have a question for both of you. Do either of your kids talk to you about this thing now? Like,
yes,
are you
sometimes? Carter and I have this. Carter and I talk about this sometimes, and it's usually just her. But I've also Nick's chimed in on it before. But But she's like, we're not, she said things basically to the effects is like, well, I'm not you, Dad. I can't just get up and talk to, I'm not good at this part.
Right.
And there's part of me that's like, no, but you can be, because I don't think I always was, and I have to stop. Like part of your brain says, oh no, that's the good thing to do. Lean into it and say, no, you can be better, and here's how. And instead try to assess the situation and actually appreciate where she's at, and not just try to explain away, oh, well, rub some dirt on it and move forward. Like that is a tendency. I think everybody has that, right? If you're especially the older you get,
at a certain age, yes,
all that, and it's just hard. But we talk about it. And
how about you, Brian? Do you talk about the chipmunk cheeks?
Not at all. Nope. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's come up as kind of like, oh yeah, you remember when you used to be a kid and used to stuff food in your cheeks, and you're like, no, I was too young, I don't remember that. But but it never really, like, it only ever comes up as kind of like a, remember that was funny, wasn't it? It's never like a this really scarred me, Dad,
right?
When you made me do this,
really messed me up.
So might not be Foo. You might have gotten away with that one.
I might have evaded. Well, he does eat. The kid eats so fast. Like, you go out to dinner with him, and he's done with his food by the time Tina and I are finished putting salt and pepper on our on our potatoes or something. Like, he's already scarfed his whole plate, and but he's skinny as a rail. So as long as his metabolism keeps up with that, then that's just fine.
Then he'll not complain yet. Yeah. I think that's the tricky part, and this is maybe for any of our older parent listeners, like your kids are a little older. This is tricky. Kids have, first of all, they have access now to each other online and lots of different opinions and things, right? They're consuming a lot of different ways to navigate the world. And I think some of it is good and some of it could just be problematic and contagious. And a big piece is like going back to their parents to say, hey, this is how you hurt me. Or I am struggling now because you did these certain things. That is very difficult to really hear with an open heart, right? Because you gave everything to your little, that feeling of like, how dare you, right? Like, there's a lot of compassion for that, especially if you have done it or you're in the thick of doing that. You do give them everything. Now, the best that you could do still might have created a kid who's not doing great, right? Yeah. And that is really hard to look in the face. And so what comes naturally is we just blame. So maybe the kid's blaming you, and then you're blaming the kid. Well, if you just done the things I said, blah, blah, blah. And really, the advice I would give to that is, kind of hear what they have to say, ask for a moment for you to digest it, because your first reaction usually will be the wrong one, especially if defensive is how you feel. Like, wait a second. So I have a dumb example. So when I'm working, I can't answer the phone. And Abe calls me for stupid things randomly, And now that kids all have phones, they can just call when they want. So he's just did my blank get there? It's always an Amazon package or something. And I don't answer. So he has spent a considerable amount of effort telling everyone it's funny that his mom doesn't answer the phone, because that's not his friends' experiences. They would wish their kid would call him. Blah, 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 blah. And so he just finds it funny that my mom doesn't even like me. She won't answer the phone. So he keeps playing this up. So when I meet his friends, they look at me so weird. And I'm like, no, I love him. What did he tell you? Like, I can tell. Anyway. And so I don't know if it's real, if he's just like, you're neglecting me and I need more attention. I don't know. But I also try to talk to him about it, and whatever. We're going to find out in 10 years, guys. He's like, you know what? But if you had answered the phone when I was 16, I would feel better about my life. I don't know. It could be coming for me. I have no idea. But to be open to the feedback, right? And especially when they're younger, they're going to do it maybe sarcastically, like Abe is doing, or, some version of, and a discussion. Listen, I'm not going to quit my job so I can answer his phone call. I can't do that. That's not what I'm going to do. No. But we can have a conversation where we talk about the real thing. Like, am I missing something here? And can I do better? And that can happen throughout the lifespan, right?
Yeah.
So if your adult child is just like, ugh, you can sense it and you feel defensive, well, there's probably something there that's been there a while. So that's kind of my main, if I can give one overarching vibe here, it is that you can fix your foo from your childhood and, have that be way less impactful on your own kids and still script your kids a little bit. But in that process, you can communicate better. You can be more open. You can learn to drop your defenses and hear them out and know that everyone is at a developmentally different place. Right. So communicate.
Once again, the big C.
That's always the same. Sorry.
No, it's good. Well, I mean, that's some people forget that often it is the same thing, and they just need to focus in on it and do the thing. And that's one of the things. That and therapy, the big T, the big C, and the big T. Woo! All right. Well, as always, fun and interesting discussion to be had. If you've got thoughts or feelings about your own foo or a story or a problem you'd like to have us deal with on the show, you can send those into themorningstream@gmail.com. That's themorningstream@gmail.com. Wendy, anything else you got going on you want to mention?
Yeah. Real Steps Round is going to start up again, and we're going to start the first Monday in March. So that's March.
Oh, that's coming
6th.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. So the website at the moment can't let you sign up, but I am just starting to warm you all up. But you can put your email in and you'll get the announcements and all the information coming up. So that's happening soon. So that starts March 6th. I would love this if someone could do this in between is send us a New Year's resolution email.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Wait, I need to lose weight, but I can't handle dieting one more time. Anything that's sort of around this. Ooh, you could combine it with foo if you want. But just some version of like this age-old problem where we feel this natural need in January to change our lives forever and make everything better. Right?
I love that.
And like, who's struggling with that? And yeah, any particular things people have questions about in how to create sustainable differences in your life rather than go to the gym on February 10th. Everyone's gone, right? Right now.
Yeah, right.
It's a hot mess.
Yeah, right now
it's like you got to fight for a treadmill. In a month, you'll have the whole place to yourself.
Oh, yeah. You'll love the gym in a month.
Yeah, so just relax.
Do you think it'd be cool if one day we found out that Dave Grohl and his bandmates named it Foo Fighters not because of the World War II thing, even though you maybe saw it there, but they actually do it because they're fighting their family of origin issues? Do you think that would be cool? That'd be cool.
I love it. That should be our theme song.
Yeah. Dave Grohl seems pretty with it. His kids like him, so maybe he figured it out.
Yeah. He's done his work. He's done his foo.
That's right. He broke the chain.
He's broken his food chain.
Yeah, his food chain. He's high up on the food chain. All right. Have fun. We'll see you next week. Be safe, and we'll see you. Bye. Now. All right.
Bye.
There you go. That was good stuff there.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoyed that, as always. A couple of quick notes of interest. We have upcoming shows. Coverville today at 1 p.m.
That's right. Jeff Beck tribute.
That's right. Twitch.tv/Coverville for that if you want to watch it live. And then tonight at 5 p.m., Core will be doing an episode. Very excited about this one. You can find us live right here at the Frog Pants channel on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/frogpants, 5 p.m. Me, Bo, and John talking the world of video games and more. Check the connection tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Oh, guess the connection.
Guess what did I say? Check
the connection.
Hey, check your connection.
Is that? Could you see if that thing's working? Could you check the connection?
Can you wiggle that wire? That'll be That'll be 2 on the Coverville channel.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly. There you go. Some prizes and all that fun. So check that out.
That's right.
Couch party after that. We're doing a Friday the 13th horror edition movie.
What's the horror movie we're watching? It's something we let Monica choose, which is great. The Night House.
The Night House
on HBO Max.
Never
Creepy
heard of
psychological horror from this past summer.
Never even heard of it. Totally down.
The Night House.
The week after that, we're doing let's see, what's the thing we're doing?
Ant-Man and the Wasp after that?
Ant-Man and the Wasp,
correct.
Yeah. Yep. We want to get that.
From tomorrow, we're starting Ant-Man and the Wasp because Scott's got to see that before all this Kang business comes around.
Yeah, this Quantum Mania stuff I don't know much about.
That's right.
So
You've got the setup for Kang with the One Who Remains from Loki, and now we got to do the setup with Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, and if you're confused at all about Couch Party, it is a patron-only deal, but here's the thing. If you can't be there live, we do put the audio up later. I wish that we had I still don't have a solution for video. It gets taken down no matter where I put it. I tried archive.org. I tried some real seedy freaking backwater dark web stuff. It got pulled there. Like, it doesn't matter where I put it. So
what if we the video that we posted slowly, like, it sped us up about 8% or something? Like, isn't there a thing where you could do that?
I don't know. Zoom in like on the corner of the video.
Yes,
or
exactly.
Whatever. People do that. I don't know how long they get away with that, but they definitely do.
No, I don't either. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Daily Motion, same problem. I got pulled there. And Icor says, did Scott see the first Ant-Man? Yes, I did.
Did, yes.
Also, what was I going to say? Oh, none of our Plex people have gotten back to me about whether they want to host it or not. So I still think Plex is the best solution, to be honest, because Plex is, everybody. Yeah. Plex is
put whatever on Plex.
That's right.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah, you own your own server. You do what you want. I don't know. Maybe nobody wants that kind of heat. I don't know.
Maybe we just set up our own Plex server. I don't know what's involved with that.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a physical, tangible server, or can we do that with like an Amazon, spin up an Amazon server or a Cloudways server, something like that?
I do have an Amazon AWS bucket, but I think that would be massive money at the end of the month to have file that big. It's like 4 gig worth of a movie or something. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
There's thoughts.
We're working on it. That's the key there. Let's see what else. And Film Sack this weekend. We're doing that. What's our episode?
Yeah.
What's our movie?
Our movie is Event Horizon. We're finally watching Event Horizon. It'll be great
for the second time
to see Event Horizon.
Finally, definitely not.
What the heck is it? It is.
I forgot. I knew this.
I'm pulling it up right now. It's Catwoman. We've moved Catwoman.
Yeah.
It is Blowout. Yeah, that's right. The one with John Travolta. Don't touch my head.
Don't touch it. I've never heard of this movie.
Karen Allen from the first Raiders, right?
First
Karen
and fourth.
Allen?
She was in the fourth as well. Yeah.
And the fourth, Karen Allen.
Yeah,
yep.
Karen Allen. I like her.
Karen Allen, John Travolta, and an overheard conversation. And this is a highly regarded film.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm stoked.
I'm excited to finally see it.
I don't remember.
I saw the conversation with Gene Hackman, which was a similar storyline. Like, somebody hears something that they shouldn't, they get it recorded, like, they're in the process. And this, I think in the case of John Travolta, he's like a sound effects guy, and he accidentally records a murder or something.
Oh, okay. I'm in. Yeah. You've convinced me. That's this weekend, so check that out. That's going to do it. Please support us on our Patreon, patreon.com/TMS, where all the fun can be had. You get all this bonus content we've been talking about, including daily content, and you'll never hear an ad even once. Go check it out. frogpants.com/TMS is where to sign up. Do it today.
Yeah.
All right. We got to go now. Let's do a song.
Yes. Now, this is a very long request that came in from Jamie Todd, a.k.a. Wolf Crane. I'm not going to read all of it, and he even says don't read all this because it's a lot. But poor Jamie is going through some stuff, right? His wife needing some neurosurgery for some serious issues with her neck. His mom isn't doing well in hospice, and his wife's mom also not doing well. Anyway, so he needs a song, and by golly, we're going to give him the song. And I hope you enjoy this one. It's not exactly the one you requested, although it's one you told me as a follow-up or as another option. Brian, let's see, where is it? If you can find a cover of Unbound by Robbie Robertson, that'd be great. But if you can't, then another cover of one of his songs from that album would be great. This is a cover of another one of the songs from that great Robbie Robertson first album. A member of the band, the band that was called The Band, is where I know him best, and his stuff in there was great too. This is a song called Broken Arrow, sung by Sweethearts of the Rodeo from their 1993 album Rodeo Waltz. Here is Broken Arrow.
That'll do it for us. We'll see you guys. If none of those things on the weekend sound interesting, I guess we'll see you on Monday. Okay?
Yeah. Jeez.
Lame.
We can't help you there.
No, not at all. But we will be here then. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
I'm playing a game.
Oh, hi, John.
Well, that's good, because that's what Core's all about.
Yeah,
so I'm glad he is.
Yeah, you play games. That's what you do.
That game is probably Midnight Suns or Marvel Snap from the